So tell me a little bit about your kind of background and sort of how you started getting involved with kind of music around Leeds.
Well, basically, Sayu, I'm in the band with. Me and him had been friends in Middlesbrough where we grew up since we were like 8 years old. And we had this thing, we were totally obsessed with Oasis. And we bought guitars and decided that he'd be the Noel Gallagher type and I'd be the Liam Gallagher type. But then it all went wrong when he said I couldn't sing. We had a big falling out, and then I never sang a note until we moved to Leeds. And then basically he started doing a music course, bought a drum machine and like home recording thing, and we just started writing songs because we were basically inspired by living in Leeds and the terrible music that was around at the time, like that whole electro clash thing that everyone was listening to. We thought we could make better songs for people to dance to, and that was kind of the inspiration from it all, really.
What was your impression of what Leeds was like then when you first came in?
I was kind of... Everyone said it was there was a lot of little tiny scenes in Leeds and everyone would be really sort of just give you the cold shoulder. But I thought everyone was really friendly and like just really cool, and I thought there was a lot of kind of pauses and stuff and bizarre haircuts running around. But I found that generally if you were nice to these people, they turned out to be alright under the eyeliner and bizarre clothes.
Well, I guess sort of the Pigs night was kind of a fairly major thing in sort of the formation of Black Wine.
Well, yeah, I mean, because me and Si actually met Tom, the bass player. We met him at Pigs, and it was kind of... Pigs started like the month after we moved to Leeds, and it was kind of coming from a small town like Middlesbrough and then coming to Leeds. That was the sort of club night I thought it'd be happening, and I really enjoyed it. And the fact that there was only like maybe like 50 or 60 people there the first one, and kind of everyone there was either in a band or doing some sort of graphic design or involved in something, and it felt really special. But I think it kind of lost its way after about a year and a half, and I ain't been back since.
What do you mean when you say it lost its way?
It turned into a student disco, basically. Kind of... I mean, I don't know what sort of music they play now, and I've got a lot of respect for the people who DJ there and things like that, but last time I went and they were playing just the kind of songs you'd hear everywhere else and any indie night anywhere in the country, whereas when it first started they were playing songs you wouldn't hear, and that's what made it special. But the last time I went as well, someone tried to beat me up, so I think that might have something to do with why I never went back.
So, I mean, you did your first gig there, didn't you? What was that like?
At the time, it felt like, you know, I felt like I'd made something in my life. I was like, this is monumental. Looking back, it was shit. We played 3 songs or something. We'd rehearsed 2 or 3 times, and we didn't have a clue what we were doing. And that was part of the whole, like, the way we were inspired by Leeds. We just thought, well, this is at the time to do things, and let's just do it. And to be honest, if it was up to me, I'd have probably never played the gig because I was too nervous and like just basically terrified. But I went on a school trip to New York and came back and it was like, right, we're playing a gig, and I just couldn't believe it because I mean the only time I'd ever sort of sung was in the practice studio, and we'd only been in there once, so it was nerve-wracking to say the least.
I mean, what was it about sort of, the sort of scene around Pigs and all that made you think it was sort of something exciting or different?
Just the fact that I'd never experienced anything like that, because I mean, going out in Middlesbrough, there was like 20 people in a club that held like 500 people, and you'd listen to the Stone Roses in Spiral Carpets and maybe Blue Monday if you were lucky, and it was like, come on, like, how is this going to help my life in any way? And it was just depressing. But moving to Leeds, it was kind of, you met people who were into the same sort of bands you were into, and they'd tell you about bands that like I'd never heard of, and it just, I don't know, it opened so many sort of doors, really.
And after that, obviously, you sort of start playing around quite a bit. And did you find it was kind of easy to sort of pick up a following, build an audience, that sort of thing?
To be honest, I don't think we actually had a following, to be honest. It was just at the time there was a lot of club nights, and we were fortunate enough to just sort of ring these promoters up and things like that and say, can we come and play a club? Like, we'll bring all our own gear. And we never got paid or anything. We went on the train, we took all the gear ourselves on the train, and that was it. And then we'd try and find somewhere to sleep that night and get the train back home, and that was it. And it was just, basically that's just how we did it for the first kind of 6 to 8 months or something, really.
You were playing quite a lot outside of Leeds right from the start, weren't you?
Yeah, that was a conscious effort, really, to because we didn't want to be just... One thing I did notice when I moved to Leeds was a lot of bands who seemed really big in Leeds, like Parva and 10,000 Things and like all those sort of bands. I'd see their name everywhere, and it's kind of like every time I went out in Leeds, a certain band, I'd see the same bands. So it was like we always decided that we didn't want to just be a Leeds band. So our second gig was like in London, but I mean it wasn't like we wanted to shun the Leeds scene or anything like that at all. It was just we thought, what's the point in just playing the same place every week? That was the only reason.
I suppose pretty quickly you got involved with Chalk and 48 Crash and that sort of thing. How did that happen?
Chalk saw us play at the Future Sound competition. And I think it was must have been about 5 months after our first gig, 6 months, something like that. I think that's right. And basically, I remember he said it was like watching a scream. That's what he said. That was his words. And he invited us around his house to his studio, and we just bonded instantly. And he was kind of he knew sort of where we were coming from, even though we didn't actually know where we were coming from. So it was like he played us loads of records, and we went in and recorded. I think we recorded 3 songs in like 3 days, and then took our 2 favourite and put them out as our first single. And that was, I mean, we only put out 500, and then that sold out. Then we got a bit of press, and then we had to repress them, and they sold pretty well.
Were you surprised sort of how quickly that took off then? You sort of got the single of the week and me and all that sort of thing.
It didn't feel surprised. It was a shock, but it didn't feel, because I didn't know any different. I'd never been in a band before, so I never knew how anything worked. So we were just like, well, surely this is just what happens then. And we all thought we were going to get signed to like a major label, because we were just like, well, this is what happens. And I remember we'd go to gigs in London, and like someone would ring us up and go, hi, would you mind if I represented you as your solicitor? And we'd be like, well, we'll meet you, but like, so we'd turn up at these real posh offices in like the West End, and we'd be like carrying our amps and equipment and stuff dead hungover. And we were just like sitting there, and he's like, right, so what's your plan of action? And we'd be just sat there going, can I have a glass of water, please? And it was just bizarre, because we didn't know any different. We just thought that that's what happened. But I suppose we had a lot of good opportunities that we maybe wasted just because we were so inexperienced.
I mean, did you kind of... Was that what you wanted, kind of sort of major deals and all that sort of thing?
My only goal when we started the band was to have our record played in the cockpit on a Friday night in the small room and people to dance. That was my only aim. Like, that was it. And I think sort of Tom and Si, I've absolutely no idea what they wanted. I think Tom wanted to get signed and be in a band and things like that, but all I wanted was to kind of have someone dance to one of our songs once, and that I'd have been happy. But it kind of, you get sucked into it all and your goals change.
What are your goals now then? What are you aiming to do?
Just write and record a second album that I'm proud of and get it out there. 'Cause, I mean, the first album to me feels a bit like a compilation sometimes, because there's some songs on there like The Face, which, well, The Face, Attack, Attack, Attack and Very Gun all came from that first ever recording session, and it's kind of weird hearing them with like songs that we wrote in the studio, and it's like, it's bizarre.
I mean, there's obviously the past couple of years, really I suppose since that Pigs time, I mean, Leeds has sort of become sort of perceived as a very kind of trendy place.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's had much effect on sort of what you've done kind of musically and what it's been like for you as a band?
I think initially when we started, we got tarnished with this sort of fashion, style over substance kind of thing. But I mean, that's fair enough because we didn't have a clue what we were doing, and our critics from day one hated us because I think they thought we were really contrived and we worked at this for a long time, but we hadn't. Do you know what I mean? We just went, right, this is our chance to be in a band, let's play a gig. That's why we sounded shit. It wasn't like we were trying, like people had a problem with the drum machine and things like that because they thought we were trying to be, I don't know, like of the moment or whatever with that whole 80s revival thing, and it wasn't the case at all. It was just like we had a drum machine. We didn't know anyone who played drums. That was it really.
Why do you think it was that sort of Leeds was seen as being, you know, or still is kind of seen as being a really kind of hip, exciting place for music?
I think it's because all the bands are so different, really. I mean, if you look at sort of bands who are getting a lot of press at the minute, like Kaiser Chiefs, obviously, and I mean, compare them to like Forward Russia, do you know what I mean? It couldn't be further apart, but it's kind of, there's something for everyone. I think it's kind of like that in the city as well. There's the trendy bars and all those sort of things, and your Weatherspoons and all that. And so, I mean, you can get whatever you want from the city. I think that's reflected in the bands.
I mean, do you think there's anything that's particularly different about Leeds compared to other cities? I mean, you obviously sort of played around the country quite a lot. Is there anything that's different about Leeds' audience?
Yeah, I think there's quite a bit of a passion in the Leeds audience that's kind of lacking in some other places. I think there's more of an openness and a willingness to sort of embrace smaller bands and things like that, which is why things like Nasty Fest work, I think. Whereas, like, I mean, in Manchester, we had to play there a lot before people started to, give us a bit of a reaction. And I think in Leeds it's just a bit more inviting, I suppose.
It's funny because Dave Gedge kind of almost said the opposite. He said whenever he's been to a gig in Leeds, from like the 80s till now,
yeah,
he's always sort of noticed this thing that a lot of the audience will be sort of arms folded, standing back, kind of like, come on then, impress me, sort of thing. Do you think there's any truth in that?
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, I just ignore them people and pretend everyone's enjoying themselves. It's like I went to see a band from Wakefield, Last Gang in Town, supporting Jules the other week at the Cockpit, and like no one in there had really heard them. I mean, they hadn't played that many gigs, and I think they went down really well. And like obviously, there's going to be a few people stroking the chins and hanging back, but you get that at every gig. And I think just because people aren't moving at your gig don't mean they're not enjoying it. I think as well, because I mean, you see like old footage of the Sex Pistols and stuff, and people are just stood there, and it takes a lot to sort of allow yourself to dance at a gig. I think you've got to lose a certain level of like self-consciousness.
Just tell me a little bit about 48 Crash then, and the label and what they do, what they're about.
What they do? Basically, the label kind of sprung up around our band to sort of put the record out, really, because no one else wanted to release our records except, 1, 2, 3, 4 Records. It's a London-based thing. Put out like first Baby Shambles singles and stuff, but they wanted to put out our demos that were not good. So we decided to go like in 48 Crash because we could get studio time and kind of they put the money where the mouth was, really, and they've had a lot of faith in us and from putting out our records and stuff, and they've took on more bands and become more of a label and stuff. And it's getting kind of more, it feels more like a label now. Before it was like the three of us in the band and then the two guys who were running the label, and we were a little family. Now it's kind of developing into this sort of more structured force.
So tell me a little bit about, what's sort of going on in Leeds at the moment that you kind of enjoy? Are there any sort of particular bands that you rate?
I really enjoy Sunshine Underground. I think they're wicked. I really like them. I like the Ivories. I think what they're doing is good. I went to see them in London at the weekend for the first London show. That was really good. And I don't know, there's a lot of things going on, like Rebellious Jukebox magazine and things like that, and There's just, and every night there's something to do in Leeds. There's always something to do.
Do you think it's going to stay like that?
I don't know. Apparently Sheffield's the new Leeds, but I don't know. I mean, I hope it does sort of enjoy its little renaissance period for a bit longer. But I mean, I suppose it's up to the media and record labels and who they decide to sign, if they decide to sign anyone else from Leeds. I mean, I don't know. It's out of our hands now, unfortunately.
Is there anything that you'd change about Leeds, the way it is at now? Is there anywhere where you think there's sort of room for improvement?
I'd make my rent cheaper. Apart from that, I don't know. I think it'd benefit from a really good sort of big-sized venue, like, because I mean, the blank canvas is just terrible, and there's no atmosphere in there. I don't think. I think it needs a good big venue, basically.
Or big as in Carl and Apollo sites rather than.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those Carlin academies. Like, I know there's one opening in Newcastle and stuff, and it just looks amazing. Like, you know, the old Odeon on Briggate.
Yeah.
That would have been an amazing venue, I think. That would have been perfect. Instead, what is it? Primark, whatever.
There's the Cannon as well, which has been empty for 10 years.
Where's
The old cinema, top of Vicar Lane, isn't it, Kev?
The ABC.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to do something with that.
Yeah,
And
probably.
the Marine Centre Odeon as well. Upstairs.
Where is that?
It's upstairs. In Marine
Right.
Centre. It was massive.
And that's still empty as well.
Probably turn it into all Weatherspoons.
I mean, you look at Brixton Academy and you think, you know, like you say, they could have done that with the Odeon.
Yeah.
Crazy.
When you're millionaires, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, we just did a day of press in Paris the other day. So, do you know Pious Records? They put out like Soul Wax and things like that. But they're putting us out in distributing it in Paris, France. And every single interview we did was, the first question was, why are you so obsessed with the 80s? And we just sat there going, well, we like Dexy's Midnight Runners, we like the Specials, we like the Clash, we like the Birthday Party. And they're like, what don't you like Human League? And so we're like, fuck off.